The final era of immigration to America is the one we're still currently in, which began in 1965 with the passage of the Hart-Celler Act. This law finally replaced the unfair quota system with a policy that gives preference to immigrants who have relatives already in the United States, or people with job skills that are highly sought after. All other past restrictions targeting specific groups were thrown out. This was one of the crown jewels in President Lyndon Johnson's Great Society program, and it fundamentally shifted who was allowed in. In 1970, 60% of immigrants came from Europe. This number just fell off a cliff by the year 2000, when only 15% were from Europe. The one thing that didn't change were the many undocumented immigrants from Latin America who continued to come across the border in search of a better life. So, in an effort to address this, in 1986, President Ronald Reagan signed the Immigration Reform and Control Act, which gave green cards to about 2.7 million immigrants. It was the largest single moment of legalization in American history. As a conservative from the anti-immigration party in modern America, the Republican Reagan compromised in exchange for more restrictions on employers who hire illegal immigrants and tighter border security. But it was a flawed law in a number of ways. Mainly, it didn't effectively fix the broken system that was allowing businesses to hire illegal immigrants in the first place. So since the businesses could still break the rules, many low-paying jobs remained for the millions of undocumented immigrants in America that the law still didn't legalize. The bill also didn't adequately fund and equip the Border Patrol, which meant there was still a fairly consistent flow of people coming across the border. To fix some of these problems that still remained, Senator Ted Kennedy introduced and Congress passed the Immigration Act of 1990, which President George H.W. Bush signed into law. This increased the number of legal immigrants entering the United States from around 500,000 per year to 700,000, an increase of 40%. This bill is also noteworthy because it was bipartisan, with a democratically controlled Congress working with a Republican president to pass major, common-sense immigration reform. Since the passage of that 1990 bill, about 1 million immigrants on average legally achieve residence in the United States each year. These are the top 10 countries, ranked by the number of legal immigrants from these countries who came to the United States in 2013, according to the Department of Homeland Security. According to the 2010 census, these are the countries from which all immigrants currently in the United States came from, ranked by the total number of people in America who say they were born in each country. Today, 14.3% of the total American population is foreign-born. That's more than 45 million people. The United States is home to nearly 20% of all the immigrants in the world, and it's estimated that more than 10 million of those immigrants are here illegally, living in the shadows. That'll do it for this final segment in our series on the history of immigration in America. I hope you gained a greater appreciation for who we are as a nation and how immigration has allowed us to attract people from all over the rest of the world. How that's the single most important factor in binding us together and making us such a dynamic place. You can go back to part 1 and catch the full series by clicking the top left box, or our most recent video, or check out our examination of the future of American military strategy, which will rely heavily on robotic technology, or our ranking of the top 10 presidents in American history. Thanks for watching. The Daily Conversation is the editor and my brother, Brendan Plank, and myself, Bryce Plank.